Hey everyone, Gio here from Fandom United. Welcome back to the channel, and this is news recap for August 9th. Got some box office talk to get to and why it doesn't really matter nowadays compared to 2 years ago. Another star is suing a studio. Bam Margera, the former Jackass star, is suing MTV and Johnny Knoxville. And we also have an update on Big Trouble in Little China starring Dwayne Johnson. That announcement happened over 5 years ago, and we still haven't heard anything until now. So we will get to that. I hope all of you had a good start to your work week. I'm officially going back this Thursday, so wish me luck. I've been on this long pandemic, stay-at-home kind of thing, and, well, for me, things are starting to go back to normal. But don't worry, this channel is not going anywhere. So enough of that. Let's get to some box office news. The Variety wrote an amazing article that you can check out on their site titled Why the Suicide Squad Stumbled at the Box Office. And there's a number of reasons that other fans online are just writing off or not, treating it as a big deal, but we'll get to that. Instead of reading the whole article, I'm going to give you the biggest takeaways in a graphic I created, and here it is. So the Suicide Squad had a $185 million budget for an R-rated movie, plus $100 million dedicated to marketing. Remember that giant Starro that you saw in France and those trailers? Yeah, that cost $100 million. So all in all, it was a $285 million investment for the Suicide Squad. Now, the opening weekend, when you combine both the domestic and international, came out to $72 million. Now, pre-pandemic, this would have been a big flop. However, there are a couple things you need to consider. And before we get to that, the trade also mentions it was the second most viewed for an opening weekend on HBO Max behind Mortal Kombat. Remember, HBO Max, all of their 2021 movies for Warner Brothers is going on the streaming service the same day as it releases in theaters. So, $285 million investment, $72 million opening weekend. What gives? Well, there's several factors. You have the Delta variant. COVID's not going away. I'm double vaccinated, but I had to wear a mask when I went to go see the Suicide Squad. Thank God I didn't throw the mask away, but Delta variant is still happening. COVID's still a thing. We're still in a pandemic. Also, same day, no additional costs. I talked about HBO Max. Second highest on its opening weekend. So there's that to consider. And then there's the R-rated factor, okay? Yeah, this is a comic movie, but it's not a movie for everybody. And I say that, haven't seen the movie 3 times, but the R-rated alone negates a huge demographic of the audience. Okay, so take those into consideration as well. And here is a statement from HBO Max executive VP and general manager Andy Forcell. And Andy says, as the country faces new challenges due to COVID variant, we're happy to continue to offer fans the option of viewing movies in their homes. Many choose to do just that, as Suicide Squad emerged as the second most viewed film over an opening day weekend on HBO Max since we began day-and-date releases with theaters. Now, those who hated the movie are celebrating. They're happy that this movie flopped, which I don't understand, because you're basically telling Warner Brothers that you're happy that a movie that they gave creative freedom to and were totally hands-off, gave a huge budget, you're happy that it, in your words, flopped. I don't understand that. I mean, we're the same fans who talked about release the Snyder Cut, restore the Snyderverse, artistic integrity. And you're basically telling Warner Brothers you're happy that a movie that was given that failed. So there's that. Now, is this movie a flop? in my opinion, we don't know yet. We know what the theater numbers are, right? It was 72 million worldwide. But there's also a pandemic. There's also same day release on HBO Max. Now, you can write those off as nothing, but you also can't say with a straight face that the Delta variant did not play a factor in people not going to the movie theaters. And then it being an R-rated movie, okay? So I think what needs to be said all has already been said. You either stand on this side or you stand on that side. Regardless of however you felt about the movie, nobody, no DC fans should be celebrating the numbers. Because first off, still in pandemic, large factors. Second, creative freedom. We don't want that to go away. We don't. So it is what it is. I strongly disagree with those who are celebrating this, who don't take into consideration the things that I've repeated multiple times just in this video. And yeah, just remember, it doesn't affect us that much as you want to think. Okay? Warner Brothers, they're probably happy with this. They're probably they haven't released the HBO Max numbers for this. We don't have context into the second most viewed opening weekend. But make no mistake, studios are prioritizing streaming over theatrical. And that brings us to our next piece of news. According to the Hollywood Reporter, it's official. Warner Brothers, AMC strike a 45-day exclusive theatrical window deal for 2022. Basically, next year, all of Warner Brothers' movies will be in theaters for 45 days, at least AMC, before moving to either VOD or streaming. And looking at my notes here, Warner Brothers has a similar deal with Regal Cinemas. And Warner Brothers is not alone. Universal also has a 45-day window. Disney has a 45-day window with their upcoming MCU Shang-Chi, as well as Ryan Reynolds' Free Guy. And here's a quote from AMC CEO Adam Aron. He says, "We're especially pleased Warner Brothers has decided to move away from day and date. We are in active dialogue with every major studio." I'll say that last line again. We are in active dialogue with every major studio. Theatrical numbers, to be honest, I don't think they mean a thing anymore. Sure, you can clap your hands about Black Widow and F9 making huge money, but guess what? Those drop-offs in the weeks after, yeah, I don't hear anybody talking about that. It's just, it's just so stupid because I see so many fucking people on Twitter literally just acting like there's no fucking pandemic. Acting like, the Delta variant isn't a fucking thing. I'm tired of wearing masks. Get your vaccinations. Streaming service is the future, whether you like it or not. I guarantee you, Blue Beetle, Batgirl, they probably do worse than the Suicide Squad. It's because of HBO Max that those movies are even happening in the first place. And for anybody to say streaming service sucks, that why would you do that to characters and representation and blah, 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 blah. This was a huge hit on streaming services So you're telling me Batgirl and Blue Beetle are better than this? Get the fuck out of here. Let's move on. Let's move on from DC, okay? Because DC fans are pissing me the fuck off, okay? Let's talk about Jackass Forever. Former Jackass star Bam Margera, excuse me, has released a statement about him suing Johnny Knoxville and MTV over Jackass Forever, the upcoming fourth and final installment. He says, I am pissed off, angry, hurt, and shattered that Johnny Knoxville, Jeff Tremaine, and Spike Jones and the studios and producers ripped off my creativity, content, and stunts to make this movie, fired me without justification, and refused to pay for my work. I created this franchise before any of these guys ever got involved. My lawsuit is not just about compensation. It's about treating people with mental health and addiction issues in an honest manner and not taking advantage of their disabilities to rip them off. Now, I actually looked into this a couple weeks back because I wanted to talk about Jackass Forever, but I didn't get a chance to. I had to cut down, narrow my topics. But from what I've read, what I've heard, what I've seen, the guys at MTV, Johnny Knoxville, they all gave Bam a chance. They said, we need you to get right because we're going to do this movie. We're all getting older, okay? It's now or never. And from what I understand, they gave Bam a chance, but Bam unfortunately struggled with his struggles, and it got to a point where they had to cut him loose. Now, I don't know all the details. Okay, there could be multiple sides to the story, but I think it's unfortunate. And watching that trailer in theaters, Jackass Forever, it was noticeable that some people were missing. It didn't feel the same. That trailer didn't really win me over. Will I watch it? Yeah, I grew up with Jackass like you guys watching, okay? Jackass in its prime, in its heyday, was the best thing. So I don't know what's going to happen with this. I hope they come to a settlement. I hope Bam gets all the help he needs. There is a disturbing video on YouTube about Bam. I won't play it here, but you can find it on YouTube, where he talks about getting fired over Jackass Forever. And it's not a pretty video. So I hope they find a way to work it out. It's unfortunate that Bam will not be in Jackass Forever. Leave me your thoughts on the matter. And we'll get to our last topic here. Dwayne Johnson's Big Trouble in Little China. The producers have not given up hope. Here is Dwayne Johnson's longtime friend and co-founder of Seven Bucks Production, Hiram Garcia, when asked about Big Trouble in Little China starring Dwayne Johnson. He said, "It is still an ambition of ours, but unfortunately there are complications that come with the legacy property like that, which has so much attached to it from over the years. We have a really fun idea on what we want to do with it, especially since our goal was to never to make a remake of Big Trouble, but simply continue it. Similar to what we did with Jumanji, we would continue the story and make sure the original stands on its own, since it means so much to us and fans all around the world. So needless to say, we are still working on making that happen, but as with any great project, the road is not easy, but we are sticking to it. We're going to figure out a way to continue the story of Big Trouble in Little China." I wouldn't mind seeing a Dwayne Johnson Big Trouble in Little China, me personally. I love the Big Trouble in Little China starring Kurt Russell as Jack Burton. That was one of those movies that I saw a lot in my childhood. It was just a fun adventure with a little bit of sci-fi fantasy in it. And it's just that movie and Last Action Hero. Those movies I just enjoyed watching on repeat over and over again. But it kind of worries me a little bit that he brings up Jumanji. I don't want Big Trouble in Little China to be like Jumanji, okay? I enjoyed Jumanji, but no, that wouldn't fit for me with Big Trouble in Little China. So don't give up hope on a Big Trouble in Little China sequel, I guess. They said it's going to be a way for them to continue the story. Maybe we get a Kurt Russell cameo. He comes back and helps out Dwayne Johnson. Who knows? But I would like to see I'm just going to say a remake, a soft remake, if that's such a thing. So leave me your thoughts on Big Trouble in Little China, as well as all the topics that we talked about today. Is the Suicide Squad a flop in your eyes, or are you taking into consideration external factors? What do you feel? How do you feel about Bam Margera suing Johnny Knoxville on MTV? And of course, Dwayne Johnson's Big Trouble in Little China. Let me know your thoughts down below. And that's going to do it for News Recap. I'll be back Wednesday. And of course, you guys can check out my review for Suicide Squad on the channel. No spoilers. I also did an audio review as well. You guys can check that out. Spoilers. But that's going to do it. Appreciate your time, subscriptions. Until Wednesday, you guys have a good one. Take care.